This conference will now be recorded.
So Danielle Bouchevet is here. Sean Hicks. Maybe you can't hear me. Thank you. Boyd Nickel.
Did you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay.
William Crow.
Here.
Fred Miller.
Here.
Catherine Wright.
Here.
Oni Crowley.
Here and present.
Dwayne Doan. Juanetta Hill. Sandy Hummingbird.
Here.
Tom Wheeler.
I'm here.
Sylvia Annabelle. Okay. And I know David Smith is here, the mayor. Teresa Coleman's on the line, and Ashley is here.
Thank you, Ms. Cornell. Agenda item number 1, question possible recommendation of amendments that will be sent to mayor and council. I'm hoping you have these in front of you. Be difficult to read. I'm going to go by number.
If you're not talking, you may need to mute yourself just so we don't hear background.
It's got birds in the background.
Yeah, I can't hear anything Boyd's saying. There's too much background noise. Everybody that's not speaking needs to mute.
Let's see where's on mute.
Boyd's showing he's muted.
If Boyd is speaking, I can't hear him at all.
You need to unmute, Boyd.
Now try. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Sean? Okay, let's go one more time then. The appointed Charter Review Committee initiatives analysis and consideration of the Bisbee City Charter on November 4th, 2020, and met regularly through April 2020. The following proposals are submitted by this committee to the Bisbee City Council for submittal to the electors of this city as recommended amendments that help this charter to continue to best serve the city of Bisbee and its citizens. Rather than try to read all of these, I'm going to just go through the numbers, and if you have any comments in addition to this, speak up. Number 1, the preamble. The underline is what we are recommending. Any comment?
Well, the initial paragraph before that has the wrong date. Should be November 4th, 2019.
Oh.
Okay. I'll make that change.
Again, preamble, any comments, suggestions, or changes on it? Okay, moving on to section 2, powers of the city. We've only added including stairs. Any other comment?
I'm sorry, what section are you at?
Section 1.03.
Okay, thank you.
No other changes, comments? Section 3, number 3, section 2.08, duties of the mayor, appointments. We have anything changed or removed? Any other comments? Section 2.14, meetings of council. Excised the whole bottom half of that paragraph. Any other comments? Section 3.04, bonds. We have excised or Xed out the entire paragraph. Any other comments? Odd to hear myself reflecting over there. Section 6, section 3.09, removal of city manager. We have removed the whole last half of the paragraph. Any agreement, disagreement, comment?
Agree.
Okay. B, public hearing. We've Xed out the entire first half of that, leaving only one sentence at the end.
Good.
C, final resolution of removal. Again, we've removed the whole first part of that and left only one sentence at the end. Any comment, disagreements? Okay, E, salary upon removal. We have removed that entire paragraph. We're asking to remove that entire paragraph. We're in agreement, okay. H, removal following election. We're Xing out appointment. And again, that's standing with just the last sentence. Any comments, approvals?
I just have a
Okay.
question. In the very last line where it says appointed council members, is that a comma or a period? It looks like a comma to me.
I'm sorry, what section again? Can you repeat that?
The bottom of page 2, last line.
Sandra, it continues, that sentence continues on the next page. That's why it's a comma.
Out in the middle, it says there be appointed council members. That should be a period. On mine, it looks like a comma.
Okay.
Agreed.
Somebody must have been in English. Okay. Any other comments besides that? As she says, this does move, that does go on to the next page, page 3.
Right.
Hey, Kathy, I'm on a conference call.
Okay, section 7.07, posting, looking out City Hall.
Right.
Any other comments on that? Disagreement? Okay, section 7.10, publication, ordinances, and resolutions. Again, just one sentence, where the city's official website, we're adding. And again, on the last line is the city's official website. Just clarifying that comment. Okay, section 8.03B, excuse me, bids. Again, we're adding the city's website as the means of notification. Okay, Article 15, I can say that, I can read this. Prohibition against discrimination. We are Xing out the whole first paragraph and then following with no person shall be appointed. And that will go on to the next page as well. Any comments? Okay. Article 16, number 11, succession in government. We are Xing out this entire section. Also, section 16.02, continuance of present officers, we're also removing. These are all references to the old, when we first got a charter. Same with 1603. And we're Xing out both A and B. And 16.04, we're also removing all that. The continuation again from the older charter things. 1605, transfer of records and property. Again, we were removing that whole paragraph. And all the way through 1609, we are removing all of this verbiage.
Good.
And that is where we wound up. We do have one overhanging request, which was back on on section 7.05, which had to do with taxation issues, and we were looking for a comment from the legal department on that. I don't know that we ever got that. And that refers to, let me get it here. It's section 7.05, actions requiring an ordinance. A, tax. We wanted to clarify, levy any tax or assessment other than the annual levy assessment of the amount to be raised by primary and secondary proprietary taxation, which may be done by resolution. I think there was some concern because taxes have to go before, raising the taxes has to go before the electorate, I can say that, electorate.
Teresa, do you happen to remember what we heard back from the attorney on that? I'm trying to find my notes.
Me too.
That's all I have in my notes, is clarified.
While they're looking for that, I just, if somebody could clarify to me what the procedure is for cleaning up the gender neutral language. So am I to understand that's a blanket thing and we don't have to go through it word by word, improve it word by word?
If they approve the preamble, yes.
It will be put in as a preamble.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so there won't be changes made to the text where it isn't correct? The body of the document?
They wanted to strike out the language and move it to a preamble. And then they, instead of they put language regarding discrimination.
We kind of chose to do that to cut down on the cost because of all the excruciating changes that have to be made. Rather than do that, just head it up with a preamble explaining it.
That's right.
So I do understand that. I'm still wondering, so will the old language be left in the body of the document?
No.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
It will. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Okay, thanks.
Is Coronado looking for a comment?
The old language, if you look at number 10, gender is being lined out, so it's gonna, if it goes to the voters, it'll be, and they approve it, that part will be striked. And the discrimination language will be added. And then also there will be an item for the preamble at the beginning regarding gender.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so then I suppose we should make a motion whether to accept this as we've proposed.
What are we saying about the tax?
Well,
Are we leaving that language?
7.05 needs to be addressed before we can wholesale agree to this. Because as it reads now, is that the council can levy taxes. And I don't believe that that's correct.
Is Coronado looking up for it right now?
Yeah,
I think that feedback is in the council chambers. Is it? Can you turn down your speaker? It's pretty horrible.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, we have no audio.
Am I the only one hearing this feedback, or?
It's on, I turned it all off.
Yeah, I hear it. It's
Okay.
terrible.
Yeah.
It stopped for me.
Yeah, roger that. It's terrible.
Technical difficulties. Is that better?
yes.
Is that right? Okay.
That's better.
Yes.
Okay, now, this tax question, we still haven't got an answer yet on that.
Well, we do know that the council cannot levy taxes.
I know.
We do know
Yes.
that. City managers levy.
Okay.
But this is the time to clean up that language, so we should figure it out.
The city manager's coming right now.
To me, that we should just strike that thing if they can't, because this is actions recording by ordinance, and if they can't levy taxes, then it seems like this whole A should be stricken.
We're talking on it just for just a second.
Where it says they can levy any tax or assessment.
Other than the
Deduct-
annual levy and assessment of the amount to be raised by primary and secondary property taxation.
A question, Fred, in your reading of that, could it maybe be that the city council makes a resolution for that, but then the resolution has to go before voters additionally?
Well, my reading says is it levies any taxes. It places, levy is placing a tax. Now, that
But
might.
you gotta read the next line, other than.
Yeah, they can't levy anything other than the, let's see,
They can't levy any. Period, right? Right.
That's what I think.
Property tax.
The feedback's back.
Now, it may very well be covered by the state law that councils taxes have to be voted on by citizens, that councils can't raise taxes willy-nilly.
It's being discussed just a minute with the lawyer.
Okay.
This is a little awkward going around, Robin.
It wasn't back in the beginning. Okay. Okay.
There are no speakers on. This is off.
I don't know, that's off now.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Okay. That's okay. 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 Thank you. Bye. Okay.
Okay, it's Teresa. Jim shared with me that section 7.05A predates current legislation and the entire paragraph could be struck.
Good.
Good. We have a motion to strike the entire section 7.005A.
I missed it. Right.
You have a second?
Second.
So
Any further discussion?
let me be clear. You're saying to strike the entire section 7.05. A,
No.
B, C? No?
7.05A.
7.05A, okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, no further discussion. How do we vote? All those in favor?
Hey,
Aye.
Aye.
But can somebody tell me, I didn't catch who voted, who set the motion and who seconded it?
I set the motion.
William Crowe
Andra?
seconded it.
And Bill seconded it.
Okay, and it was unanimous, aye?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, let's go back to, do we have any other discussion we want to talk on what we proposed so far?
Just one point of order. Does it make sense, Ashley, to call a roll on these votes because somebody might not, we don't know about how good the connection is. Somebody might just get missed pretty easily. Just in.
I can if you'd like.
It just seems like it might make sense.
I find it unnecessarily awkward in that we all agreed. But go ahead.
Danielle Bouchabé. Is that a yes? I'm sorry, you're muted.
So, yes, it's a yes.
Okay, perfect. Sean Hicks,
Yes.
Boyd Nickel,
Yes.
William Crowe,
Aye.
Fred Miller,
Yes,
Kathy Wright,
Aye.
Tony Crowley,
my eyes are above the nose.
Sandy Hummingbird.
Oh, is that me? Yes.
Okay, perfect. And Tom Wheeler? I think we might have lost.
I'm not a
him.
voting member.
Oh, you're not. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm going right down
That's
the list.
okay.
Well, then it was approved unanimously.
Okay, does that satisfy you, Mr. Hicks?
Yes, I think that's good for the record.
All right, let's go back on to considering, do we want to make a motion to accept these changes as we have worked through them in these last months? Do we have such a motion?
I move that we accept the changes that are so noted in the official minutes.
And only seconds them.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? You want to do a roll call again, Mr. Hicks?
Hey, Fred, can you just give me your phrasing? Fred, you moved to accept changes in the charter
The
as
changes
discussed?
that the committee made in the charter, as per the official minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do a roll call, I think I agree with Shawnee.
Danielle Boucher,
Aye.
Sean Hicks,
Aye.
Boyd Nickel,
Aye.
William Crowe,
Aye.
Fred Miller,
Aye.
Kathy Wright,
Aye.
Oni Crowley,
Aye.
Sandy Hummingbird.
Yes.
Okay, approved unanimously.
All right, the final choice here for the thing on our agenda is discussion of possible recommendation for the need for a future meeting. Does anybody see we need a future meeting?
I do have a question. Is this how this is going to appear on the ballot?
No, not necessarily. This will be only recommended to the city council.
No, I mean, in the presentation then to the city council, is this the way it's going to be presented with the strikeouts?
Yes,
Okay, just like we got it.
correct.
Good.
And I have a point of information. If the council approves this and it's going to appear on the ballot, should we or somebody on the committee or the committee as a whole write a recommendation to accept the changes so that it appears on the ballot as a commentary?
You guys can write any sort of communication to the council that you guys wish to. Council will decide what to accept, what to not place on this ballot. It'll be, oh, at that time, yes, you can put pros and cons on the ballot, or actually on the publicity pamphlet itself.
Not
Yeah,
on the,
that's what I was asking about is does
Sorry.
the committee, do we want to make a statement to the electorate about these changes that we suggested, and that we hope that people will vote for them?
Just like pros and cons on the ballot, $100 per pro or con statement, and you'll have a time frame where you can submit that.
Okay.
Board speaking, this strikes me as a kind of overkill in that by very definition, we are recommended these changes. That is our sole and only purpose for this committee.
But the argument for it, I agree with that, Boyd. The argument for it is that there may be people in the community that object to one or more of the changes that we made and want to say and suggest that the electorate vote it down because it doesn't say something about gender, or it says something about the mayor, doesn't say, some kind of change that they don't agree with, and they say throw the whole thing out. So that's why I was suggesting that maybe it's just as individuals, we might want to write something then, if it's $100.
well, do they, on the ballot, do
Fred,
they?
can I say something to that?
One at a time, please. Sandra first.
Do on the ballot, it won't be yes or no for the whole thing. Each one will have a yes or no, right?
That's right.
That's correct.
Hey,
Yes, that's correct. And that's why I think that we should say, or somebody should say that we've thought long and hard and talked about these things, and we think that you should vote yes on each of these changes or something to that effect.
Sean Hicks?
Can they legally do
Can I just ask a question? I mean, since this is going before the council, isn't that the place that it would be discussed in a public forum? And the council, they would, the public would be able to make commentary on those agenda items in front of council. And, further, it would be presented that we recommended to council these changes. Council's going to discuss it. And, people who had signed up for that agenda item would be able to make their comments on any given piece of it. Isn't that the way that works?
That's the way it works.
I think
But I do want you to know that I do not believe that legally the committee can make a recommendation on the ballot itself. The city cannot, and you are an arm of the city. I believe that as an individual, each of you can make that, but not as a committee of the city.
Thank you, Mayor. Oni, do you have something?
I'll pass.
Oni passes, thank you.
I got a question, Boyd.
Go ahead, Tom.
How many pages is this going to add to the ballot? You know how it is when you go and vote and you got a 40-page ballot because they have all sorts of propositions.
There you go.
It's going to be quite a large ballot, being that it is a presidential election year. So it's just kind of going to be up to council how to word it. We have to be as specific as possible and show every single change. So it's going to be quite long. We'll try
That's
to
probably why a lot of those
can.
changes weren't made before.
You got it.
Because it made the ballot so long that people get in there and they get frustrated, they just skip it. They don't read anything. I mean, when you got to flip through 10 pages on a ballot because you have all these propositions and strikeouts, people are going to go, oh, man. And plus, it makes the voting even longer. Just something to say, just something that I think about anyway.
Well, there's no way around it. You either make the changes on the ballot or you don't, and they have to go on the ballot. So there's no way around that, I don't think.
That's probably why all those changes haven't been made in the past, just for that reason.
Perhaps.
Yeah, folks, you've now made those changes.
Correct.
It's time to make the changes.
This document now will go to the city council. Although I would appreciate a motion that now that your finished document, or now that your document is finished, that it be presented as approved to the city council.
You're asking for a separate motion, asking that this be approved by city council.
Right.
I thought that's what the agenda item was. That's what
Yeah, that's right. I think that's gilding the lily.
Yeah, I think we already did that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. By definition, we're sending this with our approval to city council, hoping they will react to it or act on it. It is now out of our hands. Okay, let's go back to, do we have any discussion on a possible, do we need any more meetings?
No, but to follow up on Fred's idea, maybe we could get Laura to do an article on the Charter Review Committee and what we did and why we're doing it, and be a way of making an explanation of why this is good for the city.
Again, this is something the city cannot do. If you want to on your own, let's do that, please.
All right.
Boyd, can I be recognized?
Please, Shawnee.
Okay. So am I to understand that there's a promotional pamphlet though that explains these things? Because it seems like we could put some wording that said, yes, this is going to be long on the, on the ballot, make the ballot long, but this is stuff that needs to be cleaned up that's been long overdue.
We can't sway one way or the other on a publicity pamphlet. Our job on that is just to specifically explain what the item is and show how it's going to look on a ballot. But we cannot sway it one way or the other.
Lloyd? Okay. So, Shawnee, what happens is that by a certain date, all the candidates and the propositions have to be in. They're printed, then there's a call, or you can put comments for or against either candidates or propositions. That then goes out to the voters as an informational pamphlet prior to voting. And that's so conceivably that voters get that pamphlet and they read, oh, changes to the charter, yes or no, or whatever the comments are. But like she said, it costs $100 to do that. I personally am going to do that. I'm going to put up $100 because I think it's necessary to talk to the electorate about what we went through to do this, as well as what the reasons were for the change. So I will do that as an individual since we can't do it as a committee.
Letters to the editor could be a good way to go, but not as a committee, as a person.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Anything else?
Yeah, one last thing. What about just describing, I mean, in the promotional packet, does it describe the basics of the intent of the Charter Review Committee?
Promotional packet.
Without going into the specifics of the content of
No,
the charter?
it does not do anything other than list what they are.
It's designed to show voters what will be on the ballot, the exact language of what's going to be on the ballot. And then they include, which is also on the ballot, a for and against, if there's anybody that pays the money to put their opinion about for or against. But the pamphlet is an educational tool to say to the voter, this is what's going to be on the ballot. This is the wording. These are the people. This is the propositions, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I understand that. I'm talking about like an introductory paragraph that explains what the charter is, what the Charter Review does.
This is not part of it. To explain. Please.
Okay. All right. I'll let it go.
Going back, do we have a motion? Do we need any more meetings?
I would like to make a motion that we terminate our meetings for any future time frame for this committee, that this committee is completed.
I'll second that.
Would you accept an amendment?
Sure.
The amendment would be that that the committee's work is finished and that the committee be disbanded and no more meetings held.
I would agree with that.
I'll second that amendment. Want to do a roll call?
Danielle, you better read it.
Danielle Bouchabé? I don't know if she can.
Okay, you want me to read it?
No, just vote.
Okay.
Okay. Sean Heck?
Aye.
Boyd Nickel?
Aye.
William Crow?
Aye.
Fred Miller?
Fred was muted.
Aye.
Kathy Wright?
Aye.
Oni Crowley?
Aye.
Andy Hummingbird?
Aye.
It is approved. As chair of this committee, I would like to say thank you to all of you. You have taken it very seriously. If anybody does go to the letters to the editor or take the $100 to write, you could say thank you from Boyd Nickel. Good night. God bless.
Still need to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, Ashley, for setting it up.
Everybody. In a slide.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, folks, you need a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Need a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
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 Again, thank you all very much.
Adios.